episodes of Cosplay Sanctuary Podcast. This is Scotty B, episode 9. We're talking about Instagram, part 3. Now what? So you have all of this information about where to start, that you start from zero. Here's a few things that you can do to try and get consistent over the course of a long period of time on something like Instagram or Vero. So now what do I do? Like, really, what's the reason for this, and now what? So now I'm new to Instagram, or I've just created a feed, and now what do I do with any of that? It's real simple. You speak your truth. Say things that are true. If you say things that you believe in and that you feel, you are never going to run out of content. And that seems to be a big problem with a lot of people that are out there putting up content, is that they're just looking for that next thing that they think everybody else is going to enjoy looking at, or that's going to be interesting to them. They're going to put up their pictures of food. They're going to show you what they're doing out with their friends that's really fun and interesting. They're going to go out with a bunch of PR events, and they're going to put all that up there, and every single thing that they do that they think that you will be interested in, but it is really just the things that everybody is interested in. Those are the things we want to see, for sure. If it isn't your truth, like if you're just like trying to dream up reasons, people will watch you do things on Instagram. That can lead to a very bad space. And it can also burn you out, both with content and just in general, that you're going to keep trying to one-up yourself as far as what kind of content that you're producing for everyone else. I've done it myself in different spaces, and it doesn't work. You just run out of ideas, you run out of energy, and you just don't want to do it anymore. You just say, well, what's the point? What was the point of all of that? It was a bunch of work, and I didn't get anything out of it, and now I'm depressed, and I don't want to do it anymore. If you're being true to yourself, whatever that is, however that works for you, do that, and you're never going to run out of content. Because even if you repeat yourself, and you can absolutely repeat yourself, because the repetition is the mother of skill. Okay, variety is the spice, but repetition is how skill is built. That is going to win. That is going to get you what you want from your audience. That is going to engage with your audience, and it is going to create consistency for you and your personal brand. So it isn't about building a company of yourself. It isn't about becoming a media mogul or a media giant of some kind overnight or in a very short space of time, on your own, by yourself, with no one else helping you and no money. That isn't what you're trying to do. That's ridiculous. Maybe it's your truth. If it is, you're never going to run out of things to talk about. That's all that I am saying with that statement. I'm not telling you to try to become a media mogul of any kind with cosplay as the forum to catapult that sort of fandom. That's not what I'm saying. It might work for you, but that's not typical. That's certainly not the result that I would expect from you listening to this and going, yes, that's what I did, and look at what happened. I would love that kind of a testimonial, but I don't think I could really attribute anything that I'm producing right now to that level of result. But what I can say is that I will give you a good place to start. This will lead to you creating an offer. So you become consistent. The now what is your offer. So whether that is, hey, guess what I just did? I did a thing on Patreon, and I want you to check it out, and it's super cool, and I've got these levels, and I'm going to explain all of it to you in this live, and then I'm going to explain all of it to you in my stories, and I want you to vote on which one you think is the best, or what you would actually go for. And here are some ideas that I've been having about other things that I could offer to you, the person who built this Instagram for me. Thank you so much. And whether that is a Facebook group, or whether that is on IGTV, like watch my show, or whether that is something that you want people to buy from you, guess what? I have a t-shirt with my logo. I want you to buy it. Promote that. Make sure people know about it. Make sure people can find it easily. The easier it is for them to find, the easier it is for them to click on and buy. The less work they have to do to get around and through all of that, the more likely it is that they will support you. And you don't need 100,000 people to support you because you're not selling soft drinks. You're providing them with something. You're providing them with an audience. So it's all about consistently sharing that information at regular intervals to produce some sort of an opt-in or produce some sort of way to capture information from people or to just have them buy. So that ultimately isn't underhanded. it's what you want so that you can keep doing what you're doing to provide things for them. Getting to that sale, and it's a really soft sell. You're not asking them to buy anything from you. You're not saying, I make these amazing cosplays and you can have them for the low price. Like, you're not doing that. You're just saying, hey, here's what I do, and here's this cool thing that I made for you. And really what that's going to do is it's going to help them solve an issue that they have. So the more that you can dig into your audience, the more that you can connect with them, and the more that you can find out what they don't get or where they're having a lot of pain, the easier it is going to be to connect to them and to provide something of value to them. You create something that now what is creating something of value that your audience will appreciate that you did for them, whether that is a free thing or whether that is something that is paid. That doesn't make any difference to me. Sometimes the free offers are better. Say, hey, I created this little spreadsheet, or I created this little downloadable PDF for you. So go to my website. Oh yeah, by the way, I have a website, and download it and see if it helps. And it can be all sorts of different things. It can just be your take on like how to survive a con with a roommate. Like, I don't know anything about that. I don't know what I would do with, like, how do you bunk up with, or how do you afford going to a cosplay event or a con that's in a different state? Like, does everybody know how to do that? Do they know exactly how to pack for that? Who to ask? Or where to find feature accounts that are reliable, that don't ask you to do weird things, or that don't ask for money? Who knows about that? If you know about that, you can create a downloader on that. You can capture emails around that. That's a story for a different time, because it really doesn't get into Instagram and how it works for Instagram. At Instagram, there are features that get unlocked at certain levels. So the more followers you have, the easier it becomes for you to monetize and to market to that audience. So if you get a swipe up feature, that's cool, but you get it at a certain level. Once you're influencing enough people, you can produce those things right on Instagram. So it's very easy to click. There are a number of different shops. I think, if you're setting yourself up as a business, it's a little different. But if you're just one person creating a personal brand and you develop over time a number of followers, don't be afraid to monetize that in some way for yourself. Even if it's in a small way, all of the little ways do add up over time. So it isn't just your job anymore. You can create these sort of small funnels that add value for people, that aren't terribly hard to maintain, that aren't terribly hard to produce, and aren't terribly expensive, depending on what you offer. But if you have like a coffee mug, those aren't that hard to obtain. You can get free space for them, or, well, not free space, but you can get a pretty good rate for space for them in a warehouse where they can just get shipped. It's just like being an Amazon affiliate. There are different ways. A lot of people say affiliate marketing is a good way to go. And because of all of the different things that go into cosplay, there's so many different things that are available that you probably have on a wish list for your cosplay costumes. But you can also become affiliates for anybody else that might click on that stuff. And you can actually gain a commission for anybody who goes looking for it too. So why not? If they come through you and that's something that they want to buy for their own costume, not only can you say, hey, I want this stuff for my costume, but you can also say, hey, I made this costume and this is how you make it. Click on all of these things. That will help me, because you're supporting me if you go through, as I am an affiliate, to that item. So you'll get a little bit of a kickback from Amazon for them coming through you to that thing. So why not figure out how to set that up? It's not that difficult, and it really is just a set it and forget it sort of a thing. You don't have to keep doing it over and over again. You just set it up and you provide the links, and that's it. So I think the real issue with the now what is, how do you come to the conclusion that that is what you want to do with cosplay, that I want to monetize this in some way, or at least help provide some sort of income for what I'm doing. So I spend a lot of money on this. It is a hobby, but it's a really expensive hobby. So how do I get people to come to me, provide some income for me to keep doing it? So those are a few very easy ways, or smaller ways, that once you get consistent on Instagram, that you can use Instagram to leverage your audience. And by leverage, I just mean offer something that helps them with a pain point that they may have, provides them with information that they might need on a subject that you're relatively comfortable with at this point. If you've been providing content to this audience for a year or 2 years or whatever the case is, and you've been building that audience and influencing more people, you know what you're talking about. So why not share that? Why not help people with what they are trying to accomplish online, or what they're looking for, because not everybody wants to also be an influencer in cosplay on Instagram, but they might want to know how to make a costume, or they might not want to know where to buy certain things from reliable sources online. And you might have a lot of insight into that for what you've done. Or maybe you are that reliable source. So another part of that can also be your time. So maybe you don't share links, and maybe you don't have a Patreon, and maybe you don't have all these things that you want people to buy, but maybe you do have time. And that is a very precious resource for everybody. But if you can go live every so often and connect with your audience like that, or if you have time set aside, like if you've built a YouTube following, if you go on Super Chat every so often, that does actually give people the opportunity to donate to you. If you do it once a week and become very consistent with Super Chat, even if you're not doing a ton, Twitch is another way to do that, where you can just go and you can be in a gaming community, and there is a way to monetize that at a certain point. But just spending the time with the people in your fan base, with the people that you are influencing and helping online, it means a lot to them. And sometimes it is a bit of a weird interface to try and type or try and read all the comments on a little screen, but it's still time with them. And that means a lot. That's giving back. Anytime that you're giving back to your audience, that is the space you want to be in to promote that sort of fandom. That's also why I iterated earlier, sending any sort of video content or sending out any sort of audio content, shouting people out in your story versus just putting pictures of them and links to them in your stories, like actually saying something about that person in a story. That's huge. I've seen some really big influencers do that, and it works amazingly well for them. And also the audio, sending a DM back in audio, thanking somebody for what they've done, or just randomly, that's what you decided to do that day. It really works very well to engage with an audience like that. To conclude this, part 3, not the longest podcast on earth, so we might release more than one for the week, just because we want to get that conclusion and that wrap up for this 4-part series to you in a shorter amount of time. All tips that you can use as a cosplayer to try and navigate through this really strange algorithm change and what they're doing with the platform and how it really isn't working the best for the community. Try some of these things and see what happens. If you don't see any results, then you don't see any results. But if you do, if you find that in providing or solving pain points and in reaching out and in not worrying about the metrics, that it actually gets better and you're more comfortable with the platform and you see it for what it is versus what you think it has to be, that can work very well for what you're trying to do in cosplay. With that, thank you very much for listening, and I will see you soon for the conclusion of this 4-part series on Instagram and how you can get it to work better for your cosplay. I'm Scotty B, and I'll see you soon.